And as I said off the top, if you've never watched a women's softball game or don't watch a lot, I would advise you to watch last night. And if you did, I don't think you might have been frustrated. There might have been some head scratching, but I don't think you were disappointed as far as the entertainment value and the drama because in the opening game of the College World Series Championship, if that's any indication where we're going, buckle your seatbelts because that was fun. Texas claimed a 2-1 win over Texas Tech. They take a 1-0 series lead in Oklahoma City. Drama throughout the game. And this is what it's about. And it started in the top of the first inning, Jack. If you got to the TV late, holy smokes, Texas Tech loaded the bases with nobody out in the first inning.
Yeah,
you're thinking,
scary stuff.
And if you don't know softball enough, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this game could get out of control. 1 or 2 runs, a real problem. And Texas Tech, was the visiting team, so they batted first. And they get a single down the line to start the game, and then a single through the right side, and it's 2 on, and then circle visit, and then catcher's interference, and then then there's a ground. I mean, all of a sudden there's bases loaded, and you're thinking, holy smokes, what's going on here? And it was pretty sweet. A great defensive play. They ground into the catcher, grounded to third off the bat of the pitcher. Najee Kennedy goes to home to first double play, and then a ground out to end the threat. But man, that was tenuous. So the drama was there early, knowing any runs would be big, and zip. It was zip all the way into the 5th inning. And the pitcher's duel that we all expected, and that's where the controversy began. As we said earlier, Texas Tech took a 1-0 lead. That might have been the difference in the game. Maya Davis had a bloop single to right center field that scored Logan Hallman. But that run came after the controversial preceding play when Reese Atwood, the Texas catcher, looked for all the world like she threw out that Texas Tech player, Logan Hellman, by a good distance on a steal attempt of second base. We all saw it. She was out by 3 feet. I don't even think she reached the base, did she? Did she eventually get to the base? But it was a easy catch and tag, and you're thinking, okay, easy out. Well, I mean, we as a baseball crowd like myself, I'm thinking, well, that's easy. But clearly in softball, Glenn Glasgow, the manager at Texas Tech, knows that might be worth a challenge because of the ticky-tack rule of softball obstruction now that we've all learned by the Texas shortstop Leanne Good. And they replayed it, and it was ticky-tack. Apparently you got to have your foot, you got to catch the ball before you put your foot in the baseline, all this. I mean, this was completely ticky-tack. For a College World Series game where 1 run is monumental, to make that call when it wasn't called in real time. I mean, it was such an eyelash play by even letter of the law. Was her foot down before the ball got to all this nonsense? Well, that allows her to stay at second base instead of nobody on and 2 outs. There's runner in scoring position and 1 out. And then that single by Maya Davis, the bloop single, one of their best hitters, turns into a 1-0 lead. And you're thinking, okay, well, that might be a bad outcome. That's a bad piece of luck right there to have and I'm thinking if we're going to come in here on a Thursday morning and have to make that the lead story, oh my gosh, the Texas lost on that call. Well, it didn't happen because Texas then had a rally, and this team has rallied all year long. And it was in the bottom of the 6th inning. And, you're thinking, okay, can they get a run, just scratch a run across to get this thing tied? And, they get Kayden Henry with a single. But how about early in that frame, Jack, when the young lady Maloney looked like she hit a home run? Hit one out. I mean, but it was just foul.
Yeah, like a foot foul.
Foot foul. You're thinking, oh, my gosh, this couldn't be more frustrating.
Luck.
Oh, my gosh. And then so you get Kayden Henry with a single, and then Mia Scott gets a single. And you're thinking, okay, here we go. You got a chance. Reese Atwood's now up. And as we have said, Reese Atwood's up, and the Glenn Glasgow, the manager of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, is having none of it. He's going to walk her and say, let's face the next batter. Let's not face Reese Atwood. She's the all-time leader in home runs for Texas. She's the best hitter, the spine of the lineup, the backbone of that team. And, so, again, you've got to paint the picture. If you saw it, it's been worth reliving. But they're going to intentionally walk her. So you're going to throw 3 wide pitches. The catcher's going to stand up, get outside the box. But somebody did text me and say in the softball rule, she has to start in the box and then she can step out of the box as the pitch is thrown. Did not know that. That's a good piece of rule. But again, it really was clear that Texas Tech has never done this. And it turns out Najee Kennedy has never had an intentional walk in her career. So all of a sudden in this situation, game situation, 2 on, runners in scoring position in a 1-0 game, she's been asked to do something she's never done. Now, she should be able to do this, but, the catcher probably doesn't know, okay, I got to be in the box to field it, but she can step out further after the ball is thrown. So if you practice that, Okay, that's good. What you don't want is a pass ball, for sure. But on the first pitch, Reese Atwood sees that the ball kind of tailed back in near over the outside corner of the plate.
3-0.
And it's normally Najee Canada's throwing 75 miles an hour. This one came in about 60, 65. So it's a very manageable ball, and it's no movement on it. She's not putting the spin on it. And really, the spin is tailing it back into the plate. Well, she does that on pitch 1, and then pitch 2 and 3 are a little wider. So, okay, we're going to take this walk. But then Reese Atwood said, if I get a third one that I can see, I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at it. And, this is how it sounded last night when the fourth, it was supposed to be, all right, I got to reset this. Let me fix that for you. Okay, here we go. Here's how it sounded last night.
Runs here at the series.
Yeah, she broke an 0 for 14 there, and I don't have the full highlight, but I thought Jessica Mendoza in the color booth had a great call of that. She was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Because I seen it again. The pitch really, it could have been a strike. It tailed back so much that it really was over the plate. By the time it got there, it was going to hit her in the glove, but it was a pretty easy reach out the bat and pull it through the left side. That was crazy. That's a bizarre way to win a game of any kind.
Yeah, and of course it was Reese Atwood, who is not only the program's all-time leading runs batted in leader, but she got hosed. I mean, that was a fantastic throw on the obstruction call. It was a little too on the money, I guess, because it pulled her shortstop into the line. But, yeah, just poetry for Reese Atwood. And I know, is that Beth Mowens on the call?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think Beth Mowens does a fantastic job, and I know that I felt pretty good about calls that I do, and I go back and watch and I flub it. I know Beth Mowens is kicking herself because she said she got a hit to pitch.
Yeah.
I was cooking too.
It was just a shock, though.
I mean,
I know I was sitting there watching it, and I mentioned to my wife, I'm like, look at that. Do you see this? This is too close. What is she doing? The first one, I was kind of like her. I was like, okay, that's too close. Now, what's happening here? Are they kind of faking this thing? And then and my wife's like, are they trying to walk her or not? I was like, no, she's standing up. I mean, the catcher is standing up, and she's just kind of lobbing the ball in there. Yes, they're trying to walk her, but they're not executing that very well. And the next two were better, but the first and the fourth one were clearly hittable. And she reached out and got it, and that was big time. Now, Texas still had to get 3 outs in the top of the 7th inning to win the ball game. Here was the final out.
Series. Pops it up. Jolie Mitchell at first base, and she's got it. And the Texas Longhorns rally to win Game 1 of the finals.
So there it was. And so you get the win. As I said earlier, it's their first ever win in the College Baseball World Series Championship Series. They had been swept 2-0 by Oklahoma each of the last, 3 seasons or 3 of the 4 when they were there. Let's hear Tegan Cavan after the game about staying mentally tough through the bad call of the 5th inning and the obstruction and having to deal with it.
After that controversial call of obstruction, I saw your coaches gather the team together. What message did they deliver in that moment to help you survive?
They scored a run after that, and so just that we didn't come here to just score 1 run. We didn't come here to not score. We can't win if we don't score, and so I don't think that brought us down. I think we kept fighting, and I think we used it to help us.
All right, we can't win if we can't score, so we're not going to blame one call. We need to go score some runs. And then let's go to the post-game news conference where the first 2 questions for Reese Atwood were obviously about, was that the plan? Were you planning to swing?
Brady Vernon, Softball America. Reese, obviously those first 3 pitches of the intentional walk were close. Were you prepared to swing? Did you want to swing, knowing that it's probably the flattest pitch you'll ever get from Najee Kennedy? Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, the first pitch, I think she kind of left a little, and I was like, oh. And so then after that, I was just looking for something just a little bit. I mean, that game's really tight, and I knew I was going to have to take a risk to try and do something for my team. Props to Najee because she definitely kept us real tight throughout that game. She's a great pitcher, and I saw my opportunity, and I took it.
Right, we got a second row right to Jake.
Yeah, Reese, did you know on the first pitch that you might, if something was close, that you were going to take a swing at it? And is that your call to make that decision to swing when you're trying to be intentionally walked?
I've never had to I've never had that happen to me, so I'm not sure. Or like I've had intentional walks, but I've never had one that was actually like over the plate a little bit. And the first one was, so at that point I was like, let me just be on time, and if I react, I know she had slowed down a little bit, so I knew I had time to react to something, and I was just gonna make sure I was on time in case it was over the plate.
All right, so there you go. Heads up, man. That is a heads-up player right there. That's a junior who will be back next year, most likely. Reese Atwood, who's already rewriting the record book in the batter's box for Texas. And I wanted to play Najee Canaday. This is pretty impressive. She didn't back down. I mean, she made a mistake. And as I said, this is something that pretty clearly they hadn't practiced much, and she's never done in a live game, and it showed, and it may cost them the World Series. They're going to be back tonight for Game 2, but here's Najee Canaday with a very brief but a matter-of-fact answer to the question.
There's no challenge. I made that mistake. I think that loss is on me, and I apologize to my team.
All right, there you go. And that's going to be one that's you feel like, as you heard last night on the broadcast, if you're watching, the winner of Game 1 in this scenario wins the series 80% of the time. And Texas is now in that driver's seat. It could have been Texas Tech if not for that mistake. But it feels like this one's a 3-game series potentially, because you're going to face that young lady again tonight. And despite the mistake, she was phenomenal last night. I mean, she is as advertised. I know the whole $1 million arm thing and the conversation surrounding her. Jack, she's tough, man. Tegan Kavan's a great pitcher, but this young lady has more velocity and the late movement.
Yeah.
Up and down. We saw, if you were watching last night, Jolie Mitchell, the Texas catcher, or the Texas outfielder, she'll move up in the box, even against the high velocity, to try to get it before it breaks, because it breaks so late, either up. She got that screwball. She can down in the zone. She's really, really tough. And in that sport, the pitcher is just so impactful. And for her to make that mistake and then own it like that, let's listen to Najee Canaday again. She matter of fact says that, because somebody asked, could you have challenged that? I don't know what the challenge would be if there's another dumb rule in softball.
Yeah. There's no challenge. I made that mistake. I think that loss is on me, and I apologize to my team. She'll
be back tonight in the circle, and she's thrown every pitch for them since the Super Regional round in Tallahassee.
I mean, it's got to be tough for her because, she is the best softball player in the sport. Pitching every single game and every single leverage moment for her teams, going back to Stanford. Her bat has a little bit of pop, too. She's in the order for the Raiders. And but she just can't get past Texas. Well, Stanford last year, Tech twice already this year, now 3 times.
Yeah, good and at some level, if this were a football game, football Monday, we'd be talking about the manager. Let her get Reese Atwood out. Yeah. I mean, it's probably a better chance to let her rear her back and fire and get Reese Atwood.
And Jolie Mitchell coming to the plate.
Yeah, and if you're going to do if you haven't executed a walk, and I don't know this, but it looked like a team that had never practiced it, because it looked foreign to them to being asked to do this. That was just my judgment reading and watching this.